Hello, welcome to Educ 303, lesson number 1. But of course, are we starting with an orientation to testing? The basic goal for this course, or rather for this particular lesson, is to expose you, the student, to basic terminologies that are used in educational test and measurement, as well as the vital role that educational test and measurement play in the whole educational process. Let's start with this. There's a fine picture taken from Facebook. We ask the question, is it wrong? Just look at this picture. Wow! Look at this young boy. He says, teacher asked me to write essay on dog. And what has he done? See a dog, and he has written essay on dog. So the question again, is he wrong? It might look like a joke, but this is not a joke. I want you to ponder over this. It's a question that we are going to address together. Is this young boy wrong? So what, of course, could have been the problem? Could it have been the English teacher not phrasing the question appropriately? Could it have been the young boy not understanding the challenge or the task of the question? Whatever it is, one basic fact remains: it is not easy setting good and meaningful questions. It is not easy setting questions whose demand will be clearly understood. And this is one of the things that this course is going to address, helping you see how you can set questions well. But let's go to this particular lesson 1, objectives. What are the things that you should be able to do by the end of this particular class? You should be able to provide operational definition of each of the following terminologies: test, testing, measurement, and evaluation. You should be able to provide an outline of the rationales for test, measurement, and evaluation in education. You should be able to differentiate among these terminologies: test, examination, and quiz. You do them quite a lot, but what are the differences among them? And of course, you should be able to outline some issues in educational test and measurement. These are the basic objectives for this lesson number 1. Let's start. Orientation to measurement and evaluation. We'll start with this phrase: test and testing build on measurement. What are we trying to say? Well, in a way, the food for test and testing is measurement. Measurement serves as food for test and testing. And as we've mentioned in our introductory class last week, testing is a vital component of any educational program. In fact, you cannot divorce testing from the entire educational program. And this implies that as teachers, we must be involved in evaluating the extent to which students have learned or have not learned what they are supposed to learn. And how do we go about carrying out testing? We use a variety of tools, instruments. Test itself is one of the things we use. We use continuous assessment, we give assignment, we give quizzes, projects, practical works, examinations, and the rest. You can provide other means by which you have been assessed, you have been tested to find out whether you have learned what you are supposed to learn. But the question remains, note, we want to find the basic meaning of these terminologies: measurement, test, testing, and evaluation. What do these terminologies really mean? Let's start straight away. Operationalizing test and testing. We are going to start from the stimulus response approach. Some of us with basic background in sciences, in biology, physically, you've heard about stimulus. and response. For every stimulus, there must be a response. So a test is seen as a stimulus, any stimulus whatsoever. This stimulus can be in form of a question, can be in form of a demand, can be in form of a task, can be in form of an assignment, and what have you. Stimulus. And a stimulus is expected to solicit for a response or responses from the testee. That's another terminology, take note. So a test is any stimulus. Could be in form of a question, could be in form of an assignment, could be in form of a task. The purpose is to look out, to solicit for responses from the testee. And what will be done now is that the responses will then be measured so as to determine the extent to which the goals of instruction have been met, or to find out the extent to which the individual possesses the traits, the characteristics that the test is looking out for. Let's take it at that for now. So if we take a look at test in this way, how about testing? In a simple way, we can look at testing as the entire process of administering the test or the face value. But testing is much more than that, really. The process, all that it entails in developing the test, in administering the test, in scoring the test, as well as interpreting the scores. All these constitute what testing is all about. Now, let's look at one of the objectives for today's class, that you should be able to differentiate among test, continuous assessment, and examination, as well as quiz. These terminologies, we often use them interchangeably, we get them mixed up, and whether you like it or not, you've been exposed to each of these activities. What really are they? Well, for the purpose of this lesson and of course this course, quiz, continuous assessment, examination, all are regarded as tests. And what that means is that we are only playing about with words. But the basic differences among these can be perceived from three angles. One, the time of administration. Two, the use of the result. And three, the level of formality. Let's take a look at it from the perspective of this chart. Great. The time of administration is one. The level of formality is another. And let's see how it follows. When it comes to time of administration, quiz, followed by continual assessment, followed by exam. But then, let's look at this arrow, level of formality. What this is saying is that oftentimes, in a loose form, examinations are always done at the end of an educational enterprise. Continual assessment done during the life of an enterprise. Quiz may not necessarily be beginning. Quiz can be done at any time. But level of formality, quiz has the lowest level of formality, followed by continuous assessment, followed by examination. I mean, the formal level, how it is rated when it comes to formality, examination seems to be at the top and quiz seems to be low. These are just the basic differences that we can see. But whatever name you call them, they are all tests. They are all stimulus soliciting for responses. Let's go to another terminology, measurement. We have to operationalize measurement. What then does measurement mean? Note, we can regard measurement as a process of ascribing quantitative values to qualities based on prescribed rules. See the emphasis, prescribed rules. Or we can look at measurement as assigning numbers to qualities based on prescribed rules. So, when a test is given and a score is obtained, measurement is taking place. The test solicits for response. The score now gives a quantitative value, a number to the quality of achievement, as an example. The measurement is taking place. So a measurement can be seen as a score that has been assigned on the basis of a test. But take note, there must be rules specified in taking the measurement. We go back again to what we've mentioned earlier. Test, feed on measurement. Without measurement, there will be no test. Let's go on so that we can get the concept of measurement clear. Well, let's take a look at this diagram. I'm not that good in drawing, but maybe we can appreciate it this way. Who is more beautiful? Look at two ladies. Wow, lady A, weight 40 kg, height 1.8 meters. And look at lady B, great, weight 100 kg, height 1 meter. Don't mind the diagram, but we want to use this to illustrate measurement. Who is more beautiful? I ask you. I will be expecting your responses in the comment section. But take a look at this. Is it Lady A that is more beautiful or Lady B? Lady A is tall, elegant, slim. Lady B, short, fat. So who is more beautiful? Some might be quick to respond that beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Is that the way you look at it? Can you say that beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder? Okay, take a look at the diagram again. Maybe you're going to appreciate the way the hand is drawing it. I wonder whose hand that is. Lady B is now in process of being drawn. So the question, who is more beautiful? We might go back to that question later. But let's look at this from the perspective of subjective versus objective measurement. We look at the picture. Some may argue seriously that beauty lies in the eye of the beholder. That is a common assertion. But if our measurement and evaluation of beauty were to be objective, what are we to do? Whom out of Lady A and Lady B is more beautiful? If beauty lies in the eye of the beholder, that is then what we can call subjective measurement, because the way beauty is measured is now dependent on who is doing the measurement. But what if we agree that beauty can be measured, and as says using this formula, well, it's hypothetical anyway, that beauty is equal to weight divided by height, and that the more the value obtained, the more the beauty. Take note, we mentioned under measurement that ascribing quantitative values to quality based on prescribed rules. So we are trying to operationalize measurement, objective measurement now. So if we are now agreeing, if we all agree that beauty can be measured and that we are using a pre-specified rule, weight divided by height gives you measurement of beauty, and the more the value, the higher the beauty. In that case, we can clearly say that we are measuring objectively. Let's go back to the issue of objective and subjective measurement. A subjective measurement is one that can possibly be interpreted differently. Going back to the measurement of beauty, when you say beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, then you are saying that beauty can be interpreted differently. That is subjective measurement. Beauty is measured based on the person's individual perception. That is subjective measurement. But an objective measurement is one that cannot be interpreted differently because of numerical values and, of course, because we are all following an agreed rule of the measurement. So let's go back to our two beautiful ladies based on subjective measurements, because any of them could be regarded as being beautiful. Lady A, once again, weighs 40 kg, height 1.8 meter. Lady B, 100 kg, height 1 meter. If we are doing subjective measurement, we'll keep on arguing. Nobody will agree whether A is more beautiful than Lady B. But if it's objective measurement, going back to our rule, Lady A's beauty would then be height weight 40 kg divided by height 1.8 meters rather, and the beauty of Lady A would then be 22.2. Going by the same rule, Lady B's beauty would then be 100 weight divided by 1 meter, the height, and the beauty is 100.0. So we ask again, who is more beautiful? Objectively, Lady B is more beautiful. No argument, because 100.0 is much higher than 22.2. So based on our prescribed rules, we are now measuring, ascribing quantitative values, numerical values, numbers to a quality such as beauty, but based on prescribed rules. So objectively, Lady B is more beautiful based on our prescribed rules. Hope you get what we mean by that objective measurement, objectivity in measurement and subjectivity in measurement. So why then do we carry out measurement and evaluation? Quite a number of reasons. One, we may want to estimate the effectiveness of teaching and learning techniques, of subject content, instructional media, the general curriculum, to find out the extent to which they've been able to attain the goals of the program. That could be one of the reasons. We may also want to provide additional motivation of examination, so as to provide opportunity to practice critical thinking, application of principles, the making of judgment. And of course, there are quite a number of reasons why we do measurement. We may want to gather information needed for administrative purposes. We want to determine the level of knowledge and understanding of students. We want to determine the level of students' clinical performance. We want to diagnose students' strengths and weaknesses, and of course, to suggest remedial measurements or measures rather that might be needed. Let's go to the final issue. Issues and trends in educational testing. Quite a number of trends in educational testing. We'll go to the very important one, use of ICT in testing. We see that recently ICT is now gradually finding itself to be very useful and influencing the whole process of educational testing. We see public examination bodies in Nigeria now using ICT. Talk about the Joint Admission Matriculation Board using ICT in its examinations. We see that of WAEC, that of NECO, and all of them. Starting from the process of registration, the construction of the test items, the administering the test, scoring, analyzing test results, interpreting, keeping test records. All these are various ways in which ICT is finding its way into testing. And we assure you that we are going to really expose you to some ways in which you can use ICT to carry out the process of testing, to develop your test, to administer your test. It's a promise, it's part of the content of this course. Another issue and trend in educational testing has to do with examination misconduct. You and I know that this is what is happening. Testing now is breeding a lot of new ways. In fact, we now have trends in examination misconduct. You know various means of it. Year in, year out, students are always caught in examination misconduct. Even now, using ICT, part of examination misconduct. These are some of the trends. I only mention them. We are going to open up the discussion forum on our Google Classroom for us to discuss this in detail. We want to learn more from you, students. Another trend is testing people with disabilities. This is a real challenge and is a trend. In our university, you are aware that in the Faculty of Education, we have some physically challenged individuals, especially the visually challenged. It's a new trend. It's also posing a challenge to how we set questions. How do we administer the question to them? Is it fair for the examination process to treat them differently? And when they want to write because of their condition, they have to type. Is it fair? These are all issues that are trends, issues of in educational testing. Another issue is misuse and overuse of tests. This is another trend, challenge, as it were, in the issue of educational testing. Many teachers misuse tests. In fact, they now use tests. Some teachers use tests as threats to students. Some overuse tests because they see they administer tests impromptu. Almost everything tests are always administered. Another important trend has to do with the appeal process and retesting. Does the examination process have opportunity to appeal when you have not done well? Perhaps during examinations you are not feeling well. Is there a means by which you can appeal and retake the test? Will this not also be misused even if there are opportunities to come and appeal? These are issues and trends that need to be considered. Providing meaningful feedback. Yes, this is very important. When you are exposed to a test, are there meaningful feedback to know, even if you score 10 over 10, why have you scored 10 over 10? What are these your areas of strength? And if you do well, not so well, are there feedback mechanisms for you to know your weaknesses? Bye.